Hey everyone! In this episode, we're going to discuss Disney's newest live-action film, Aladdin. We're going to talk about everything from the musical numbers to the directing style. This is episode 148 of the Reel-ists podcast. Hello, listeners. Welcome. I'm Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer. Oh, your voice squeaked.
My voice finally.
Puberty's finally hitting.
The real reason.
Seriously. We have our producer, Ruben, here as well. Hi, Ruben says. And thank you guys so much for joining us. This is a very special episode, very near and dear to my heart.
Talking about the Lion King? What?
No, we're not there yet. Let Aladdin have its time to shine. We're still 2 months out on that other film we don't speak of. But before we jump in, just want to quickly remind you guys that we are on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS, no dash. We're also on YouTube, and we're also on iTunes, where you can leave us comments and rate us on iTunes if you're feeling extra motivated. But now it's time to take a magic carpet ride into the city of Agrabah. So, Oscar, you're going to start us off, homie, with your quick thoughts of Disney's newest live action, Aladdin.
Yes. So I think the best way to describe this movie was boring, dull. Just kidding. Just wanted to throw a twist in there. Someone's listening now to this episode. Just kidding. But no, I really enjoyed this movie. I think I was telling you that.
No, stop. We're going to stop this recording. Let's do it again. You're not going to disrespect Aladdin like that.
Look, you need to hook them up with something. That's what the headlines are going to say in this podcast. The title is going to be
Oscar found it dull, boring.
But in all honesty, this really was a fun film. I think this really captures what the animated movie is and brings it to this context of what it would look like in a real life setting. Obviously, there's still some fantasy elements to it, but that's just part of the story. And I think it did a great job of making you appreciate the story more. Not necessarily make you appreciate the animated film. Of course, that's the source, and if you love it, you love it. That's always going to stay the same. But I think this one really manages to kind of just enrich it and kind of give you more of wanting this world and wanting to make it feel like it's real. Because when you see those animated movies of Disney, especially, you kind of have that I wish I was Aladdin, or I wish I had a genie, or I wish I was a lion. Whatever comparison to the movie you're thinking of, you kind of wish you can be that in real life, but it's kind of tough to think of it from an animated movie. And I think what this movie does well is bring that to life, to really have those same feelings that you probably had watching the animated movie, whether it's just an appreciation of the songs or the story of the characters, but now in a live action form. And I thought it did a really well job of that. So top that. Just kidding.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I actually was, obviously I was excited. I was so excited when I found out that they were going to make this film.
just thought of a skit of you just not really being excited, but you're just like, oh, okay.
No, I was, but I will admit I was concerned because obviously, Aladdin is my favorite Disney film of all time. And, so my expectations were, I was trying not to get them so high, but I also didn't want to have them super low and be like, oh, well, I hope the movie does, okay. I wanted it to be really optimistic and hopeful about it.
Did Dumbo scare you with maybe Aladdin might be like this?
It made me a little nervous for maybe this just won't translate the way that they're hoping it will, and audiences maybe won't be as keen on it. But Beauty and the Beast was everyone loved it, so I'm like, we can do this. Aladdin, it doesn't have to be a Dumbo story. But I will say I was more impressed with the film than I thought I was going to be. I knew I told you guys jokingly, I was like, I'm going to love it regardless because it's Aladdin. So even if it's bad, I'll still like it. But I really was impressed with everything. The acting, the actors that they cast, the visuals, the kind of recreation of the land of Agrabah. I loved it, and I was just so happy that that it was good and that it, and that audiences love it too. It has a really strong audience score, and the critics were slamming it at first. Some still are, but it definitely got the approval of fans and audience members. So I think at the end of the day, that's pretty much what you're going for. So yeah, so I couldn't have asked for more. If you have never ever heard of Aladdin, which I can't even believe that could be a possibility, but this was a live action remake of the original 1992 animated film. But Google says that Aladdin is a lovable street urchin who meets Princess Jasmine, the beautiful daughter of the Sultan of Agrabah. While visiting her exotic palace, Aladdin stumbles upon a magic oil lamp. That's funny. A magic oil lamp that unleashes a powerful, wisecracking, larger-than-life genie. As Aladdin and the genie start to become friends, they must soon embark on a dangerous mission to stop the evil sorcerer Jafar from overthrowing young Jasmine's kingdom. So this film stars Naomi Scott as Princess Jasmine, Mena Massoud as Aladdin, and Will Smith as the genie, and it has some other pretty darn good characters in it as well. I wanted to say, Oscar, what did you... Well, this could be to Ruben too. If Ruben's seen it with us, so Ruben, if you want to interject at any time, you can. Only if it's good comments. But but what did you think of the casting? Because I'll say I was a little... When I heard that Will Smith was going to be Genie, I do like Will Smith, but I was like, I don't know how that's going to work.
Like how you threw the question, then you were just like, but I want to answer first. No, I mean, I didn't have a problem with the casting. Yes, Will Smith was one of those that I was like, he doesn't have that energetic, like, Robin Williams-esque type, personality. So it was kind of more of like, what are they going to do with it? How are they going to interpret that? And then I think what kind of scared me was when they first released the image and he was like human form. For Broadway it works, but I think for like the live action movie, given that it's a movie that they can spend time doing it as, him as a blue genie, I think that's where some concern happened. But once kind of Will Smith confirmed, like after that issue on the magazine came out, he was like, no, there's still blue genie in the movie. I was like, okay, cool. We had that scared teaser that it wasn't looking good for Genie. It was just kind of like, this looks very bad. Looks like not Disney made almost. So there was that hesitation as well. But I think like performance wise, seeing it all together now, I'm content with it. I'm not comparing him to Robin Williams just because I feel like it's two different mediums. It's not fair to just be like one has to just worry about his voice and the other one has to worry about actual performance and, being animated in that, so to speak. But yeah, I think he delivered it. Obviously, you can kind of see some Will Smith-esque type personality in this, but I think that's the same thing that you saw with Robin Williams. Like, because we were just hearing his voice, we weren't like saying, "Oh, that's so Robin Williams," but just now as like a blue character, this was more of like that same thing, but just now live action. Aladdin, Jasmine, Mena Massoud. Is it Mena or Mena?
I think it's Mena.
Mena Massoud and Naomi Scott. I liked them. I actually thought they were great. I saw them as Aladdin and Jasmine in the movie. Like their non-character looks don't look like Aladdin and Jasmine, but I mean, props to the costume department. They made them look like Aladdin and Jasmine, and they performed it to the point where I was like, that is Aladdin. That is what Aladdin would do. That is what Jasmine would think or how she would react to this kind of news. So I thought it was great. I thought overall solid castings. Whether there's going to be a sequel or not, I would say they should continue with these characters. They did an excellent job of making me think that they were the characters, and I think that's more successful than what some of the other live action movies have done. So I'll take it.
Right. Yeah. Same. I mean, I was very pleased with Mena and Naomi. Yeah, I definitely got, Mena Massoud definitely got the whole Aladdin, character down, I feel like. And Naomi Scott made Jasmine a lot more likable than I thought she was going to be. Not that I dislike the animated Jasmine or by any means or anything, but I just wasn't really sure how it was going to go. and she made her really, really likable and a really strong character. And obviously, you kind of touched on it, but Will Smith, he wasn't trying to, replicate what Robin Williams did or impersonate Robin Williams in any way. And I think that's why it worked so much because, that's such a kind of iconic role that's in, Disney animated history, I think, is Robin Williams' Genie. So to try to just, imitate it would be kind of not right. So I'd like that he kind of went with the more, type of Fresh Prince vibe, which Fresh Prince was very lenient on Will Smith's just natural character as well. It's Will Smith and Fresh Prince, they kind of at times were the same person. So I like that we were getting that in this Genie role. So I thought it was great, and I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier with all three of them. I loved them all. I think they are great actors. They're great singers. I'll say Naomi Scott, I would say, is for sure the strongest singer, I would say, out of the three. But
just kidding.
The other two did great. Will Smith did great. Obviously, he's not new to like the music scene. He had a musical career for a bit. And Mena Massoud did great. I thought it was great.
I think Mena was more talking singing, and I think that's a little bit easier to just practice on that go. Obviously, not having experience singing for his career was just more of like, okay, I just have to think of this like maybe Broadway-like style or something in that regards. Naomi Scott delivered more of like an actual song, the new song of the movie Speechless. I think that was like an actual song rather than just like singing, just walking along and just singing these lyrics. So I think that kind of was what helped it as well, was the type of songs that they were using. Obviously, we know the songs, but I think that kind of helped balance it. Jafar, to mention him as well, I don't know the live action actor's name.
Marwan Kenzari.
That guy. I think he did well. I just wished he had a deeper voice. I feel like that is one thing that, to me, I can't help but think of the animated version. I think the animated version was better, and even the Broadway performance of Jafar. I mean, I know like originally it was the same voice actor, but most interpretations still have that deeper voice, and I think that just works for the character. His like softer voice was just more of like, it just, to me, it always felt like someone that wanted power, but you just knew was never gonna get power. I don't know. It just didn't, like, the voice was just more of like, yeah, I don't see you really as a threat. I see you as like someone that's just an annoyance, like, a burden on my shoulder because you have to, I work with you, but I didn't ever think of like, I fear you. But that's just my personal opinion. But like the performance was great. That's just the minor nitpicking there.
Yeah, I mean, I just took it as like they're all, especially Genie. Like, he obviously doesn't sound like Robin Williams, so it's not like I'm not holding them to sound exactly like the animated character. So his voice didn't bother me. I really, really was really impressed with that, with what he brought to the role of Jafar, because I felt like, obviously in the film and in the Broadway version, like he's, he can be very, he could just be very flamboyant and very extra. And that's who he is. Like, that's what makes him villainous.
I mean, he got extra when he got to become like a genie power, like when he was just laughing hysterically. He was
the actor.
Extra. Yeah, in the movie.
Yeah. But I like that his, it was more so like, I don't know. I feel like I just got a real sense of, it wasn't like this fantasy like villain, but he felt like he was just like a kind of like a real villain. Like he was fighting for like a real cause, and, like fighting, well, his own cause was the cause he was fighting for. But there was a scene when he was talking to Jasmine's dad, and he was talking about the prince from Scotland, and he was saying that could make a powerful ally. And I don't know, it brought a sense of like he's really trying to step into this
Sultan advisor,
this role of power, and it seemed like kind of realistic and not just like, oh, I just want to be powerful just to be powerful. Like, it seemed like he had ulterior motives as to why he was consulting the Sultan and why he should, they should do this and that. But I just really liked what he did with Jafar. I thought he was really good. Yeah, he did get a little extra with that with that laugh at the end, that's for sure. But it's all good. I can forgive. But yeah, you had mentioned the Speechless song. So the music for this film, I want to say, I'm gonna try not to like say only good things about this movie. I'll try to find some nitpicky things. But I really, really loved the musical numbers for the film. That Speechless song, after hearing it a second time, I did like it a lot. I didn't like it at first. And maybe that's not a great thing because that means it wasn't memorable the first time. And a lot of people probably aren't going to see this movie again. People like Ruben over there. But the second time around, it really grew on me, and I felt like it really worked for the overall message they were trying to portray, obviously, but for the scene as well. Did you not like the song at all, Ruben, or like what was it about it that? Yeah. Why are you so? Why are you being so nitpicky about the song?
This isn't a review anymore. This is a shame.
I say what you said the other night.
No, I never said the song was bad.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Oscar, what was probably, I guess, your favorite musical number that they did in this film?
Well, I don't really like Aladdin songs, but just kidding.
I'm finna walk out right now.
I think the one, and I would say the one that made me feel very reminiscent of the animated film was A Whole New World, and I think that's just the song in itself more so, but I feel like the scene played off more of what the animated film did. I feel like A Friend Like Me and One Jump Ahead, or if that's what it's called.
It is.
Okay, so I feel like those were more adaptations of like, oh, let's spin it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. One Jump Ahead was
right.
Was like a whole different thing.
So I feel like that. I think that's why A Whole New World was just very like you can't change it. There's no need to change it. It's perfect the way it was in the animated movie. Just keep it the same, and they did, and so I'm glad with that. I'm glad they didn't try to like add this additional like high notes moment or this additional verse that wasn't part of it. They kept it just the same way. Are there any other songs that I'm missing? Prince Ali. I think Prince Ali was just, I don't know. It just wasn't. It was like I understood the moment that he was being performed, but I just was just like, it just wasn't clicking for me of his introduction. And I think that's just more so of the way the song is written, and then also Will Smith doesn't really kind of sing that kind of song, so it's kind of like two different styles clashing in that moment. But yeah, I think A Whole New World was probably the best because it was exactly what the animated film, because it wasn't broken, so they didn't need to fix it.
I'm going to be a little nitpicky about that, and I told you about this today, that for me it seemed like the audio for both of them singing was like at two different levels. Like like his was like, I like that his was very spoken, just how the animated version was. Like it was like speaking the song, but then when she came on blaring like, a whole new world, and he was like, kind of on the softer side. So it's like I would have either had I been like the one, like had I been there in the recording session, I would have been like, Naomi, can you either just tone it down a bit, or Mena, can you project a little more? Because it was a little, even like to me, I got, that was a little clashing, which I didn't hate it. I still loved the song, thought it was great, but yeah, that's something I'll be nitpicking on. I really, really liked. Obviously I liked all of them, but I think my favorite one was, it's either Prince Ali or A Friend Like Me. Friend Like Me was, obviously all CGI, but I knew it was going to be, but I was really impressed with it because it looked really, really spectacular. It didn't look sloppy to me. It looked really just aesthetically pleasing, and just how in the animated version it's, because the song, like the genie's like listing all these things that he could have, so they're visualizing all of it, and it's like it's kind of like there's a lot in that scene, a lot of visuals and a lot of mentions of certain things, but I like that they were able to capture that and visualize it and display it, and it really was just so fun to watch. That was probably like one of my favorites. And then Prince Ali for the like the set design and the production of it was just so, and the costumes and the colors. I thought it was just great. So I can't choose between those two which are my favorite, but just know that they're both my favorite. And that's all you need to know.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, this film, for the most part, it definitely, just derived from the original. I wanted to ask, was it too like beat by beat for you? Did you, or I mean, was that kind of just what you were expecting?
It was, and it was just stretched out, and it was like, that's the kind of tough balance that I would say, because a movie like Dumbo, where it takes the beginning from the animated movie, and then goes on its own course, didn't get the positive reaction. But then at the same time, a movie that gets beat by beat reaction from Disney, at least as compared to just Disney live adaptations, it gets praised. And it's kind of odd that it has that kind of balance where people are just like, literally give us exactly what the animated film was just in real life, because that's what we want. But I mean, it was beat by beat. I know the moments that stretched out were kind of like the new scenes, like the new song, and obviously they just had to extend it to a little bit more of a 2-hour movie, because that's the standard, rather than an hour and 30 minutes or whatever the animated movie time's at. But I mean, to me, it just was more of like, I knew what was going to happen, so it was just hitting the checklist of, okay, we got to that song. Okay, we got to this moment. Okay, we are in the magic carpet now. Okay, perfect. All right, Jafar is now going to lose. Perfect. All right, now we're happily ever after. And so I feel like that was what it was. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, given that that's what this movie was just an adaptation of. Had it gone its own course and, spun it off and they killed, Jasmine's dad at one point, or they, get Iago to do something twisty, I don't know. I feel like then I think that would have just taken away, because they're just like, this isn't what I wanted. It's kind of tough. It's a very tough balance, and I don't really know what the right solution is. I mean, if your intention is to remake the movie from the animated form, then I think you succeeded. I think the movie did well. But if your intention was to bring in a new audience, or to kind of make more money because of the franchise, you want to milk it, then I think you might just be looking at it from a business side rather than artistic view. So I don't know, but it was a beat by beat, and I'm okay with it ultimately.
Yeah, I would for sure was. I mean, that's what I was expecting it to be, with some slight subtle differences.
Very minor things that would just like has no impact overall on the story. It's just like more background to admire, I guess.
Yeah, I really. Yeah, I mean, and
like Jasmine's handmaiden. Go ahead. Take control.
No, go ahead. Since you already brought it up, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, I really felt like they brought the city of Agrabah to life, and like it was obviously like it's a live action remake. That's what they're trying to do, is like bring this animated story to life, to and like what it would look like in the real world. And I feel like they definitely succeeded, in doing so. Like it really was. I just really loved like the look of it. I just loved it so much. I can't say anything bad about it. But I'm the some of the differences, I'm glad that it didn't cause the story's plot to deter from what the original was or anything. And the handmaid that you brought up, I really liked her, and I thought that only added to the story. Because she was a very likable character, and it ties into her, how we because the movie opens up with Genie, or we see that it's the same actor, Will Smith. So we don't know if he's like, I wasn't sure if he was like Genie retired, or this is like this is just a story told through his perspective. Like I didn't know. And he was talking to 2 kids. So I'm like, obviously those are his kids, but I like how it just kind of, we looped that her handmaid into the story, and it kind of came back full circle, and they ended up being together and having 2 kids, and that was really nice. And then what else was?
I mean, you even have Raja in the movie, and Abu and Iago, the animals that we kind of just like, that's an animated thing that you can do and get away with, but in the live action, realistically, obviously, you can't really have a domestic pet of a tiger. A monkey can work, and a parrot can work, but the tiger is like the one where it's just like, I don't know if you can really get away with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really control it and be like, down, don't bite.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I liked them. I mean, I was afraid that they were gonna. I mean, the Abu, obviously, he doesn't really look like the animated Abu, so it's like, I was a little bummed at first, but I mean, he was still just as likable and kind of, not charming, that's not the right word, but like just likable, you know, like that was Aladdin's like sidekick.
Yeah.
Adorable, exactly. I feel like the sultan in this film was definitely had more like depth to him as a character, whereas in the animated film he was just kind of like I guess I would describe him as a little dopey, I guess, and he was just kind of his mission was to just find Jasmine a husband. But I feel like this film kind of went a little bit deeper, and you know he had a scene where he was saying, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm not going to be here for long, and I need to make sure, you know, you're okay, and just more heartfelt, which I really liked. And the ending was slightly different because in the animated film, the Sultan, because he was the Sultan, he allowed Jasmine to marry whoever she wanted. But in this film, he basically made Jasmine the Sultan. So that was a pretty cool difference. You know, didn't change the story dramatically, but it was nice that, you know, and it makes sense with the whole, like, you know, the movement of trying to empower women and, you know, that whole spiel. So... Not spiel, sorry, I didn't mean to say spiel, but the whole, you know, the movement that's going on, and it ties into her song Speechless perfectly. So I was pretty happy about that. You know, slight differences, but they added to the story. They didn't take away from the story, so I was all about that. Guy Ritchie's, you know, I think I've never seen a Guy Ritchie film, but I take your word for it, Oscar, that what we were getting is pretty his style, I guess, with other films.
I mean, for the most part, the things that he could improv and add to his like directing, I think you notice, and I think those are the moments that you probably may be like, I didn't like how they filmed it. The dance probably wasn't done right. They could have done more. I think those moments are the moments you felt like that was really his directing style, because a lot of it, again, because it's an adaptation, you know, you can't really see his own artistic view on this, you know, movie. Like, just to kind of reiterate, like A Whole New World, a lot of that was, again, just bringing what the animated movie did to like the real life version. There wasn't like a, you know, oh, let me add this twist to it where they go underwater in the carpet and, you know, you see lights underwater. Like, there was nothing of that. Nothing new added to it. But yeah, so a lot of things that he does in his other movies you still see in this movie when he has the opportunity to, when it's something that's not directly coming from the animated source.
Did you watch Sherlock Holmes?
No.
I did.
You did?
Oh, yes. So Sherlock Holmes, King
me.
Arthur, I'm sorry. Man from Uncle.
I guess those are like the popular ones he's done. Man from Uncle, yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of them.
You've seen one.
I've seen one of his films. Yeah, and I didn't, you know, the direction of the film I really liked for the most part. There was only a few nitpicky scenes that I would have changed. Obviously, the one that we always bring up is when they were performing One Jump Ahead, and it's right before him and Jasmine get on the truck, and it's like the shot is like sped up really, really fast, and it just looks kind of wonky. I did not like that. But right prior to that, when they were running from the guards, there was like a slow-mo scene, and I loved that. Like, I really was into that. That was really cool. All the slow-mo scenes I really liked, when Jafar kicked Aladdin off the top of the tower and he was spinning, you know, trapped in that chair, and I really liked that. Or when Abu was jumped in, you know, midair trying to get the lamp. Like, that was a really beautiful shot. So a lot of those shots I was really for and really liked. You know, the slowed down slow-mo shots, but the ones that were sped up I didn't care for, and they did that a few times. He did that when they were dancing, when they were doing Friend Like Me, and they were like doing jump, like Genie and Aladdin were doing splits, and that was like sped up. And then when Aladdin was dancing, when they were doing that kind of Bollywood style number, and Aladdin was in the middle dancing, that was really sped up too. So I wasn't feeling those moments. I think they didn't really do anything other than just cause distraction, but everything else I thought was great. So, you know, I can't complain. It was a great film. Did you have a particular favorite scene
Of like his style, or like just
of the film in general?
I would say, gotta kind of replay the movie right now in my head and kind of see if there's anything I liked. Oh, actually, yes, and I've said it from the first viewing because we've seen it 2 times. The intro, when after Will Smith like starts his singing and is doing Arabian Nights, I really liked the setting up the stage of like Iago and Abu kind of just like exploring Agrabah from their perspective, but you see our main characters kind of just blend in with the environment. I really like that it was setting this is a story that's about to be told, and it really just set up like this world. I mean, yes, it was nighttime, and it was very limited into like what they were showing us, but I feel like it really was a nice way of just kind of setting that tone of like, all right, we're gonna get into story time. Let's watch as we see the world being created, our characters in play, kind of in the same way like to sometimes theater plays have that like setting where you see everyone on stage and they're just doing their own part before they have to speak. It's kind of like that that kind of thing brought to life. So I liked it. I really liked that opening scene. And then I think the other part that I liked was just the cave scene. I thought that was really well done, and I really
when he went to go get the lamp.
Yeah, and all that to the point to Genie getting him out, and even the musical number. I think it was just very well done, and it just you knew what was going to happen, so there was no kind of shock of that, but it still was just like believable. I thought they did a good job of really making you feel like he is in this cave where all this jewelry and very nice looking jewelry.
Oh my god, I know.
So yeah. Which I thought it's funny that I believe it's Pandora that was just like advertising. It's like only a movie like this can have the jewels of Pandora or something like that. It was just like, what a like forced way. Like, that's like Coke being like, yeah, you saw that movie, you saw that bottle, that was Coke. Go get a Coke. Right. It's like, damn.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can tell you a favorite scene because I have a lot.
We know your least favorite because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I really
liked when
Speechless.
That's a good song.
That one, I said that before. Is that I feel like it was a music video. Like you cut it off from the entire movie. It feels like it's a music video, and the setup is, this is your reality, but you have a moment where you see a life different, and
it's like pretend you're a princess in a castle, and like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say too, since you brought it up, I felt like and this is me just being me being nitpicky. I wish she would have sang it more in a Broadway style. It was very like a contemporary like pop song. Like it was very like she's about to start her new tour, and that's just how she sings because she kind of it was like that with A Whole New World. She sang kind of very poppy as well, which is not a bad thing. She has a beautiful voice. I just wish stylistically it would have been a little more Broadway-y.
I took Speechless as like an attempt, not saying that was the reason behind it, but it was like a Let It Go version. Like they wanted a song that you're gonna be like stuck in your head of just like saying Speechless.
Yeah,
and it works to some degree.
It is a good song. It's no Let It Go, but it is a great song, and my La La Land writers did amazing.
Oh my god, another streak, another win.
They just know what they're doing.
They know what I love.
They know how to please me as a music fan. But no, what were we talking about? Oh, favorite scenes. I think if you had a gun to my head, I'd probably say Friend Like Me was probably my favorite one. Just visually and just the.
I want to know, was that Menamasu dancing? Like or is that like a stunt dancer?
I would assume that it was a stunt double because you couldn't really see his face.
There
were some. I mean, I'm sure there was some choreography he had to learn.
Right, of course.
But for some of the like the jumping, doing the splits thing, I don't know that was him.
I was just like, man, if it was,
or even when he was doing his dance in the
to impress the princess.
Yeah, like some of that I was like, I wonder how much of this really is him and how much of it is not.
I mean, like there were times where you like obviously yes, where like you can't really focus on his face or he's moving too fast, like when he was like doing the spins with like on the ground and his legs were like swinging in the air. Like I was like, okay, that's probably not him because you can't really see his face. But like when he was doing like the Front Like Me, I was like, I kind of see his face still, but obviously that can just be, CGI imposed on, but we act like we can find out, like just asking each other.
We're never gonna.
Hopefully, in the bonus features, there's some like detail, and I'm really looking forward to like the iTunes extras that the movie has. Maybe I'm hoping. I always love a director's commentary. I feel like those are always fun to like go through. And not to go slightly off topic, I was a little disappointed that Us is not going to have one. I feel like Us would have been a great one, but I just saw that it wasn't gonna happen, so it was disappointing.
Boo.
Yeah. So I'm hoping Aladdin does one with maybe, at the very least, the director, so he can kind of explain why he did that slow motion or that quick high speed, how they did the dancing sequence, or how they do,
The quick high speed for dancing made sense, but just the first time we saw it just did not.
I mean, we saw it at Disneyland.
We've seen that scene how many times now? 5 times?
5, yeah.
Because
we saw it twice at the
parks, and then we saw it twice
so
here,
4 times.
So 4 times. Maybe that's why I'm just harping on it so much. But it's only like 2 seconds of the film. We were like, they really need to calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Did you notice it though?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You didn't like
It's
it either.
noticeable. No, it is noticeable. Because at first you're just like, oh, was that like a glitch? Was it like
Yeah, it's like did they just miss that in the editing process?
If it's on purpose.
I can't imagine why that would be like, oh, we're gonna hyperspeed this. Like that'll look great. I can't imagine that would be a conscious decision.
Yeah.
I think that's why it throws you off.
Yeah.
Like why?
And then it doesn't help that we're going from slow mo like seconds prior to then hyperspeed. Like it's just so that's.
But
That's what it feels like. I think that's why it feels like you lag. Like,
And then it's trying to catch up. Yeah, like it's buffering. That's what it feels like. So
I
I'm
can
like,
see that.
I hate that. But other than that, yeah. So sorry to answer the question. I'll probably say Friend Like Me. Favorite scene.
To answer your own question. Oh, I asked that, but I was asking back.
What'd you ask?
No, what was your favorite scene?
Yeah. That would be that one.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite scene, Ruben? No. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just for perspective, he was shaking his head. No, I don't want it.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't just cut him off. Thank you. I wasn't like trying to shut him up. He literally was shaking his head. So I'm like, okay.
Everyone's gonna be thinking like, oh, Ruben was gonna say.
Wow,
something.
I didn't even give him a chance. What a jerk. All right, Oscar, it's time. Final real score for Disney's Aladdin.
I am going to give it a 4.5. I think this is one of my surprise hits for 2019. And I really, it's one of those that, I keep thinking about the songs. I keep thinking about the movie in an enjoyment, like it was fun kind of way. Not so much of like it's Aladdin and it's the animated movie brought to life. I know it was adapted, but I think it still just worked. And I think that's probably a little bit of my enjoyment out of it, that it was exactly what I knew what I was going to get. No dark twists, no big surprises, Aladdin was always a fake person and Jasmine was thinking about all this in her head or anything like that. That was a nice plot twist. Write that down for a little spin-off, a little Brightburn idea. But no, yeah, so I really liked that. The songs, they are what they are. They're one of those that just, you like them, great. You don't like them, there's plenty of other songs in the world. You'll listen to it. But yeah, so this is one that I just was satisfied watching it. I was like, I'm enjoying it. At the end of it, I was like, that was fun. Let's get back on it again. Let's, get on that magic carpet ride to go relevant to the movie.
Hell yeah.
I think that overall there's a lot more positives and great things that I would say about the movie than the negatives. And the negatives are more just nitpickies. I don't think really as critique. If you're critiquing it, then you're critiquing the Aladdin story overall, and that's reflecting both the animated movie too. So whatever problems you have with the animated movie, you probably have with this same live action movie.
That's right. Well said, Oscar. I love it. I love you. I love your real score. No, mine's is gonna be a 4.5 as well. It was just shy of a 5, but there are some nitpicky things that I already mentioned. But I think for me, this film was almost perfect. It was just great. It was a great action film, a great adventure film, a
great family film.
A great family film. It had romance, and it really, don't look at me like that, Ruben. And it really had, a good overall messages to just that you can just be yourself and yourself is enough. And I could cry right now just thinking about it. I thought it was great. I think, the direction of it was great. The CGI I loved. The characters were awesome. I will say, I'll just be a little nitpicky. And Daniel had, Oscar's cousin, who saw the film with us the second time, he mentioned this too, but Mena Massoud's rendition of Aladdin seemed a little Broadway-y at sometimes, like a little theatrical, whereas the other characters seemed a little more natural. And But, you know, and I did notice that as well, but still I think he did great as Aladdin. You know, the musical numbers are great, and I loved that they kept so much of the original music in the whole film in general, not just the musical numbers, but in certain scenes you could hear you know, reprises of A Whole New World or One Jump Ahead, or the One Jump Ahead reprise that played a lot in different, or they did it in different renditions, but it just kind of swelled, you know, throughout the backdrop of the film, and you could hear it. You could hear it throughout the whole film. So I was so thankful that they kept with the music from the original, you know, while incorporating some new music. So that was really cool. But I think Aladdin just was great. I loved it. I can't wait to see it again. I've seen it twice, and I want to see it again.
Whoa.
And I'm just so happy that audiences liked it. Like that, you know, I don't care what critics say and whatever, but like as I mean, like, I'm happy that, like, that what's important is if the audiences like it, you know, and I'm like, you know, I have family members saying like, oh, I saw Aladdin, thought it was great. Like, that makes my heart happy.
What a business mindset he's going with this.
I'm just saying.
The critics don't, you know, we respect their honesty, but I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day,
it's what, you know, it's people like your movie, and people liked Aladdin. People loved Aladdin, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Ruben,
and all the critics that didn't like it, Donnie hates you now and will not be agreeing with your movies moving forward.
No, not even. No, to each their own. Ruben, what's your final reel score? Don't worry, I won't judge.
A 3, he says.
A 3? Okay.
But now we look forward to the next.
Yeah, now eyes are pointed towards Lion King coming July 19th. Lion King, you're welcome.
5 out of 5.
Aladdin set up a perfect springboard for you to just come and annihilate.
Well, Toy Story has to keep the momentum.
That's not a live action remake.
But I'm just saying, it's Disney.
This is live action remake talk.
Gotcha.
And Lion King, I'm excited for Lion King. You know, like, I know people were like, oh, it looks too realistic. This
Poor Maleficent coming off of Aladdin and Lion King then, where it has to. And there goes back to like becoming its original little idea.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We got, Disney's coming out with a lot.
Christopher Robin was like barely getting good like critic reviews, so Dumbo, as we saw, was not.
Dumbo just didn't soar to the heights that Aladdin did, but
oh dang. Goodbye, elephant.
Dumbo was fine. Dumbo was, I mean, like, I didn't hate it. I thought it, but
you're not watching it again.
I'd watch Beauty and the Beast and the Jungle Book over Dumbo for sure.
Oh, I forgot about the Jungle Book.
Yeah,
that was gonna have a sequel.
I still never watched. What was it on Netflix? The Jungle Book.
Mowgli.
Mowgli. Yeah, I still never saw that. Did you? No. Nope. Okay. Something we could check out, maybe. I mean, it's not really relevant to now, but I mean, let's still check it out. Why not?
Came out late last year.
Anyways, listeners, thank you guys so much for listening. We want to know what you guys thought about Aladdin, so share your thoughts with us on any of our social media platforms. Only good comments, please. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Be honest. Tell us what you thought.
Or just like the critics on, he's not going to agree with you.
No, I know. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. For real. I can put aside my bias of the film. I want to know what you guys thought. I also just want to remind our listeners that the time is coming for the Reel-ists podcast to close one door.
I love it.
All the doors.
Right. Where are you going with that one?
The Reel-ists podcast, it will be coming to an end. So next week will actually be our 2 final episodes. So, you know, it's bittersweet, but the time has come. But we definitely would love for you guys to just finish out the journey with us and, you know, to just be looking forward to next week. We're going to review Godzilla and Rocket Man. So, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be, but I don't really know what else to say about that.
We believe in everyone. Hang in there with us, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, hang in there. We're almost there. And we're just thankful for you guys'
It's a
support.
celebration.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. So we're excited and sad, but it'll be good. So thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we will catch you next week, our final 2 episodes of the Reel-ists podcast.
Thank you.